Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with selections for Saturday, the 22nd of April. But first, a quick recap on Friday's performance. Well, we had a winner, we had a place horse, but the problem is it wasn't quite enough to show a profit. We're at 85 pence down on the day, £6 on, £5.15, I believe, was back. So Saturday, I really like the look of Saturday. I don't know why I said it twice, but yeah, I do really like the look of Saturday. There's plenty of angles into why I like a lot of the horses. I'm going to talk you as briefly through it as I can. So, I believe it's 3 separate horse racing bets. I've covered all pretty much the main races, if there's like value to be had. And then I've had a football bet. It's about time the football bet came up. So, let's be superstitious. Right, let's say if we get up to 50 likes, the football bet's going to come up. How's that? So, get up to 50 likes and let's all be superstitious and give this video the most amount of likes that I've ever had in a video. Let's start off on a good footing. So let's get into it. So 3 horse racing bets and a football bet. So as you can see, there's some bets at the top. They are all part of the next bet. So the main bet is a 10 pence each way lucky 31. While you're placing that bet, also include them as 10 pence each way doubles and a 40 pence each way 5-fold. Unlikely to come up, but a nice place prize if it does. And that totals £9 in total. So let's get on to the selections. Right, I want to talk you through these selections very quickly. There was a couple of horses that I liked for Michael Dodds. And when I looked at him, I thought, well, how many runners has he actually got? So I went through them. And the runners I've chosen, he has got a couple more, which one of them I've included further down. But it's got about 8 runners on the day. I think the vast majority of them have got chances, and it is a track where he has had quite a few winners at in the past. Obviously, it's a northern track he's going to, but I went through some of the form of the horses. Some of them some of them do well running fresh. Some of them ended last year running well, but actually had a few races on the all-weather, brought its handicap mark down slightly, and is off a decent handicap mark and can run well fresh. A lot of them show speed, which is ideal Northampton then, which is ideal at Thirsk, because, in my opinion, if you come straight down the middle on ground that's slightly worse than good, and you've got plenty of pace, you've got every chance of getting a place. So I'm not going to talk you through these horses, but I'm going to read them out. So all these are Michael Dodds trained horses, and I believe they're all at Thirsk. So the first selection is Hills of Gold at 16 to 1 in the 125 at Thirsk. Bearing in mind, I've had another bet further down, and they slightly contradict each other, but they're all big prices. The second selection is Sparkling Red at 18 to 1 in the 2 o'clock at Thirsk, paying 5 places instead of 3. All these bets are with Sky Bet due to their enhanced places on the majority of the races. The third selection is Atomize at 18 to 1 in the 3:45 at Thirsk, paying 4 places instead of 3. Also bear in mind, please, that I've taken the prices. Some will probably double in price, some may even half in price, but I think it just gives you the option of cashing out, that's all. The fourth selection is Emerald's Pride at 14 to 1. Emerald's Pride at 14 to 1 in the 4:4 race at Thirsk, paying 4 places instead of 3. The next selection is Stallone, a very interesting horse. Shows plenty of pace in the 4:50 at Thirsk at 16 to 1, paying 6 places instead of 4. So that's that bet. So let's scroll down. Right, the next bet, I was going to include a few horses each way, but when I looked at the prices, there were no real. There were only just each way prices, or not even each way prices. So what I've done, I've had a Yankee, so I've got rid of the singles and I've upped the stake slightly. So what I've had is a 40 pence each way Yankee that comes to £8.80, then a 60p each way 4-fold. And these are the selections. So the first selection in the 40 pence each way Yankee is Oscar Elite. I've taken the price at 9 to 2 in the 150 at Air, paying 4 places instead of 3. Joe Tizard had a winner at Air on Friday. I believe you can have a winner at Air again on Saturday. The second selection is Democracy Dilemma at 17 to 2 in the 2 o'clock at Thirsk, paying 5 places instead of 3. This horse is absolutely laden with speed. It's got Holly Doyle on board, which I think is quite interesting going to Thirsk when there's quite a few. Well, when there's Newbury at on the TV in the first place. So that's quite interesting. The fact she's gone to Thirsk. So I do like the look of that one. It's got plenty of pace, and it should go straight down the middle of the course. It likes the ground, and I think it's got a cracking chance. The third selection is Colonel Mustard at 9-2 in the 225 at Ayr in the Scottish Champion Hurdle, paying 4 places instead of 3. Cast your minds back, I did fancy a horse for Cheltenham that ran at Kelso, and it was the only horse that laid up with a pace that was far too quick, and was the only horse that managed to grab a place, and all the rest of the horses that tried to maintain the pace basically finished miles behind, absolutely miles behind. This horse still had every chance of winning at the last, and it was like pulling pretty much all the way around, wanting to go quicker, and it still maintained the pace up the Kelso Hill. Well, I think with a little bit more restraint, only a little bit more restraint, I think it's got absolutely every chance. But 92 is a bit of a stingy price, and I thought it might have been bigger than. But I've taken the price, so we know where we are with it. And the final selection is Capono at 17-2 in the 4:15 at Thirsk, paying 4 places instead of 3. So that's that bet. So what this next bet is, it's some very tasty prices in some decent value races, each way races. So what I've had is 20 pence each way doubles and 15 pence each way trebles. Excuse me. So the first race is the 3:15 at Newbury, paying 5 places instead of 3. I've gone for Brunch and Bear Force 1. Both of them will like the ground. They both race prominently, where I think it's favouring horses that race prominently at Newbury, because a lot of the horses, I know some of them were favourites, but if they were up with the pace, it was getting quite hard work. There's not a great deal of rain forecast. It should stay pretty much the same conditions at Newbury as what it was on Friday. So it will be hard work. And there wasn't that many horses coming from behind, as long as the front runners didn't go off too quick. Brunch and Bear Force 1 will be forcing the pace. Well, hopefully not forcing the pace, but be right up there with the pace, and should hopefully kick on, and the others don't get to them. So those are those two horses. They're roughly about the same price, but I've actually taken the price of Bear Force 1 because I think 14s is probably too big a price. Then we go on to the Ayr Scottish Grand National. So all you do, include the previous 2 horses. So the next race is the 3:35 at Ayr, the Scottish Grand National, paying 7 places instead of 4. I've gone for Mighty Thunder, 3 under through 5, and Empire Steel. The reason I've gone for Mighty Thunder is I do think it's got a chance. It's plummeted down the handicap, and it's actually it won the race 2 years ago, so we know it stays a trip. It's had a quiet season, but for me that means nothing. If it's being targeted at this race, it's going to have a quiet season because they don't want it to stand out from the crowd or win a race, because it'll go up in the weights. So I think this could potentially sneak a place. It was 14-1. Personally, I thought it should be more like 25-33s. So it comes from the Lucinda Russell. Well, they're absolutely flying at the moment, their stable is. And what say she gets a double? Well, people might think she might get the double with the shorter price horse that she's got. Well, what say she doesn't have that and she wins it with the outside of a 2? The other selection, or one of the other selections, is 3 under through 5. Well, I've followed this quite a bit now, and it just snuck a place by a short head when we had that cracking day at Cheltenham. We had a £200 and something day. Well, this comes something like, I think they paid out in the first 8 when it come 8th. Well, it's interesting that I think it will prefer this kind of flatter track, better ground, and it was flying all the way around it. I would say Ayr then, it weren't Ayr, at Warwick, when it was just a heavy ground that did it in the end. And at Cheltenham, for me, they never even put it in the race. It was never involved one bit. Then luckily, it got a place for us. It came 8th. But I think it could be potentially, it could have been aimed for this race. I don't know. But cheek pieces for first time on Saturday. But I think that's quite interesting. And another story. So you've got the Lucinda Russell angle. You've then got, let's remember, the Grand National was posted all over the papers for, let's say, the wrong reason. Remember the horse, Hill 16, that tragically died? It fell at the first fence with Ryan Mania on it. Well, Sandy Thompson's been all over the newspapers since about this, shouldn't have done this, shouldn't have done that. Well, he's actually got 2 runners tomorrow. And what a fairy tale it would be is from I don't know, from despair to glory or something like that. because he's got 2 runners tomorrow. He's got Flower of Scotland, which I can't. It's got a chance, but I just can't quite fancy it. Well, this Empire Steel, I do think it's got a chance. And what sways me as well, call me superstitious, it's also got the same jockey that was on the unfortunate Hill 16. It's Ryan Mania again. Well, he's on this horse this time, and I think Sunday's papers or Sunday's Scottish papers could have this horse as the winner with some kind of headline to do with the English Grand National as well. So those are those 3 horses. So keep those in your bets still. And then finally, I've gone for 2 quite decent prize horses, which obviously I haven't taken the price. They're both in the 4.55 at Newbury, paying 6 places instead of 4. I have gone for Warning Sign and Point of Fact. If we've still got a decent amount going, it could be very nerve-wracking when these 2 horses run. Let's say we've had a couple of winners. Unlikely, but hopefully. I think these horses are anywhere between 16s and 25s. Definitely interesting angles, both of them. So those are all the horse racing selections. Just double check. Yeah, sorry, I'll get confused then. So yeah, as I said, so all those need to be included in 20 pence each way doubles and 15 pence each way trebles. Now let's get onto the football. If you're still here, give me a like if you will, please. Let's get onto the football. So this is going to be quite hard work. I'm just moving my screen. So the bet is, I feel confident on this, as I always do. So an early goal could open the floodgates, in my opinion, in all these matches. I've gone for a £6 over 2.5 goals treble. Hartlepool versus Crawley. Mansfield Town versus Stevenage. Once again, for the guy who commented, Mansfield again. I can't remember what your name is, but yes, Mansfield Town again, because they have been doing very well recently. They've let us down a couple of times, but I've had them quite a lot. And the Liverpool match over 2.5 goals. As you can see, it makes £32, which is basically, if this one bet comes up, I think it basically covers a day. So the reason I've gone for it is Hartlepool and Crawley. If it's an early goal, it could open the floodgates because it's basically one place in the relegation zone versus the team that's just above them. It could be a tight match, which it probably will be, but if there's an early goal, it could open the floodgates. Mansfield versus Stevenage, very interesting. Mansfield seem to score, but they always seem to concede. It will be a tight match, but if there's an early goal, it could be end-to-end stuff because both teams are desperate. Stevenage are actually plummeting in the league. They're still comfortably in the playoffs, but they've dropped from pretty much a guaranteed automatic to struggling to get back into the guarantees. Whereas Mansfield are just outside the playoffs, needing to get back in there. And then the Liverpool match. So the Liverpool match is an early goal or even a Forest goal could get Liverpool really knuckling down, and they could get quite a few. They seem to be just hitting a little bit of form now, but Liverpool are so inconsistent. And bear in mind, Forest actually beat them at the City Ground anyway, so not that it means anything really. So the next bet is a £3 over 3.5 goals treble. The same teams: Hartlepool, Crawley, Mansfield, Stevenage, Liverpool, Forest, and then that makes 84. So that'll be a profitable day, comfortably a profitable day. Then finally, the pound treble makes £189. £1, a pound and a penny. That was just get rid of the penny out of the account. Over 4.5 goals treble. Hartlepool, Mansfield, and Liverpool matches over 4.5 goals. So it's nearly 14 minutes. If you're still listening at this moment, you must be dedicated because even I've nearly turned off before the end. So give me a yes or yes I have or you're draining me, Charlie. Whatever you want to say, just leave a comment. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Preferably, if you can give me a comment and a like, or even a subscribe, or even a share, or even what else can you do? Well, I don't know. Just give me a like, please, if you can. I know I'm waffling. Get on and enjoy your Friday night, and let's have a cracking weekend. If there's above £20 to come back, I shall be having a bet more than likely on Sunday, and the video will be out Saturday night. Much less than that, I'm probably not going to bother, and let's save the ammunition for next week. So the very best of luck. We're 14 minutes, 37 seconds in. Give me a like or subscribe. Thank you very much. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.